Hey guys, welcome back to Reds Minor League Talk. It's 3 weeks in a row. It's almost like I've got this on my calendar and scheduled. Uh, there's not a lot going on this week as far as player news goes, but there are two big stories that came out over the past week that I thought would be worth talking about. The Reds officially announced their Greenville affiliate. They're going to be the Greenville Reds, and they're going to play in the Appalachian League this year. Got a really interesting mascot. I don't know if you've, or I don't want, not mascot, logo. I'm not sure if you saw it going around on Twitter or not, but it's basically Mr. Redlegs with a raccoon skin hat on. It's red and white instead of brown and black or some other combination. I don't know, but I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. But apparently, it's a tip of the cap to Davy Crockett, who is from the area where Greenville is at. So it's got the local flavor, and whatever makes them happy works for them. But yeah, so that's official now. Um, they'll get underway in mid-June, mid to late June. They'll start up at the same time as the Billings affiliate does every year. So that's in the books now. They have not yet named their coaching staff for the 2018 season, but I've reached out to the Reds. Hopefully, we'll have that information soon. But for now, it's still unnamed. But along with that, it came out that the Reds are going to go from two Dominican Summer League teams down to one. Now, they've had two Dominican Summer League teams for quite a while now. One of the teams basically came over from the Venezuelan Summer League a couple of years ago. Things got bad in Venezuela. They're still pretty bad in Venezuela. But when things started to get bad, a lot of the teams pulled their academies out of Venezuela and moved them over to the Dominican Republic, where most of the teams had two teams playing at once. It's a rather large league over there. And it seems that the Reds are going to go to one team there, and then they're going to slide what would be the second team there up to the United States. Now, exactly how that all is going to work, I'm not sure. We'll find out when June rolls around just how many of the Latin American kids that would have been in the Dominican Summer League playing on one of those teams make their way to the United States and play for the team in Goodyear at the spring training complex. But as far as the Dominican Academy goes down there, which is where they play all the games at, going to one team is interesting. The Reds want to use the resources that they have there. I don't want to say they're limited resources, but I mean, at some point they are a little bit limited because you've only got so many coaches that are there, so many teachers that are there, so much room without adding on to the complex itself. So while the resources are going to remain the same, there's only going to be about half as many players that are there, which gives the Reds a better opportunity to focus on the players that are there. That's not to say that they weren't focusing on the players that were there when they had two teams, but when you've got, let's say, you've got 4 or 5 coaches there that are trying to focus on, say, 70 players, now you've got that many coaches that can focus on 35 to 40 players. And so from an on-field perspective, that's going to help out a lot. But I think off the field is where you could really see some benefits. In the Dominican Summer League, those players, they live at the academy. They train there, they live there, they sleep there, they eat there. And having those resources for half as many players, I think that the nutrition stuff it'll get better for them, but also the education that they provide these players as they prepare them for future life in baseball and even outside of baseball. Having to focus on fewer of those kids in one place is going to be helpful. Now, a lot of those guys that will be coming stateside, they'll get the same things in Arizona that they would have gotten, or most of the same things that they would have gotten in the Dominican Summer League. So, just having two different places, I think that's going to be a beneficial kind of move for them. We'll have to wait and see how it works out, and we probably won't realize any of these benefits for probably 4 or 5 years. You got to think the guys that are going to be playing in the Dominican Summer League are going to be between 17 and 20 years old right now. So, they're at the absolute lowest rung of the ladder in terms of where they're at in the organization. They've still got to jump 5, 6, 7 levels from where they're going to be at. But I like the move. I wouldn't have bothered me so much if they kept 2 Dominican Summer League teams. I think that more teams is better than less teams, but with the way that they're working it out, I do think that this is going to be more beneficial than the way it was in the past, with 2 teams there, but then only 2 rookie ball teams stateside. But we'll find out. I just think that it's going to take a while. Now, as far as actual player moves go, the Reds made an interesting minor league pickup this week. They picked up right-handed pitcher Luis Heredia, and he was a big bonus guy out of Mexico for the Pirates back in 2010. They signed him for $2.6 million out of Mexico, and I'm not sure how many of you know this or not, but when you sign a player out of Mexico, you're almost always signing them away from a Mexican professional team. And those teams are allowed to keep up to 75% of the signing bonus that you agree to with a player. And that team kept 75% of his signing bonus. So while the Pirates paid a lot of money for him, Luis did not get to keep a lot of that money. But that isn't really relevant to the story, but I just thought I'd share that. It's one of those weird little quirks that are in the international signing system that a lot of people don't know about. But he'll only be 23 years old this year. Now, he's still got a really big arm, but he's now a relief pitcher. Last year, the Pirates decided to move him into the bullpen after spending the early parts of his career in the rotation. His control problems that he's shown, those followed him to the bullpen. So that's one area where he really needs to improve upon with the Reds. Hopefully, they can do what they've done with some other guys and really hone in on that control and get his walk rates down a little bit, because he's still got really good stuff. Breaking ball is really nice. He's got a good fastball. He's a ground ball pitcher. And like I said, he's going to be 23 years old. You don't usually find minor league free agents at 23 years old that weren't released at some point. He actually reached free agency because he's been around for so long, because he did sign at age 16. And the Pirates actually brought him stateside immediately. He did not spend any time in the Dominican Summer League, or I guess in 2010 they may have had a different team internationally. But I don't know. I'm intrigued by this signing. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to pan out for them, but they grabbed a young, big strong arm kid, and adding those kind of guys, especially at his age, that never is a bad thing for the farm system. The other guy they signed this week is actually a re-signing. They re-signed Domingo Tapia, and last year was spent mostly with Pensacola. He had a few games that he pitched for Louisville, but it was almost all for Pensacola. And for the first time in his career, he threw a lot of strikes. Control had been an issue for him in the past. It was not last year. It was a step in the right direction. Hopefully, he can lower his hit rate moving forward. That's kind of what got to him a little bit last year. I think it was 102 hits in 88 innings. But he missed a lot of bats last season. He had 85 strikeouts in 88 innings, just 26 walks. So the control was there. Now, whether that plays out well this year, I'd imagine he's going to go to the Louisville bullpen, but that always depends on how things break down at the major league level and how players trickle down. But he's another guy. He's got solid arm. Could have a major league future, but there are still some things to work on. But I think that's it for this week. There's not a ton going on minor league wise, but trying to stay on a schedule. So here we are, and I mean we had a few things to talk about. So if you like this kind of thing, subscribe over here on YouTube. If not, well, I'm sorry. I'll try and do better and get you to subscribe next week. But thanks for tuning in, and for more information between now and next week, you can always read redsminorleagues.com. Until then, see ya.